All right, let's take that live in moments off the screen because we are live. If you might have gotten bored watching our faces just bounce around the screen while we were muted there. Got a lot of sharing out to do and setting up to do as we go live. Welcome to Fairway to Heaven. We are now past the major season. We are coming down the home stretch. I can't believe coming down the home stretch. Fairway to Heaven live on Philadelphia Sports Network. Whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, like, follow, retweet, share, subscribe, tell a friend, drop those gambling and DFS questions, whatever you got, drop them in the comment section. If you're watching on the Fairway to Heaven YouTube or Twitter page, make sure you head over to the YouTube page of Philadelphia Sports Network or the Facebook page. That's the only place I can get your comments in on the screen, and we can answer all of your questions. I am your host, Phil Stiefel. We got my main man, Jason Sullivan, sitting in next to me. Jason, are you ready for the season to almost wrap up here? Like, I can't believe it.
I know. It's wild. It's good. I mean, the good news is, no, I'm not ready for it to be done. But the good news is, I mean, we got 2 weeks left, the FedEx Cup playoffs, the Ryder Cup. I mean,
Yes.
we got some good things to look forward to.
Is it just me, or do you get more excited for the Ryder Cup than the President's Cup? I don't know what's different about it because they're pretty similar. But when it's President's Cup or Ryder Cup year, I always get a little bit more pumped up.
Oh, for sure. I mean, first of all, President's Cup, the U.S. doesn't really lose in that. So
Yeah, exactly.
that takes away the excitement.
Yeah. So anyway, before we get in, we got the 3M Open up in Minnesota, TPC Twin Cities. We can get into that in a minute. I just want to spend just a couple minutes wrapping up the Open Championship, the major season, and you know, Brian Harmans. Let's be honest. Let's not take anything away from his huge, dominating win. And we talked about him a little bit on this show last week, and we both played him in DFS. I had a top.
I did not. You did.
You bailed on
You
him.
were all over him.
I played him in 7 to 20 lineups. I bet him top 20. I couldn't pull the trigger on an outright like some did at 110, 120 to 1. But I don't know about you. My research said Brian Harman was a perfect fit last week. You know, we just couldn't pull the trigger all in on him. I mean, it was a pretty dominating performance last week in a very difficult course, difficult conditions in a major championship.
You know what's funny, too, is that I completely agree with what you said. But you know what's funny is that if that would have been John Rahm or Scotty Scheffler or one of these big name guys, Brooks Koepka, you would have seen everybody going crazy. Like, oh my God, one of the most dominant performances we've seen in a long time. It wasn't even a tournament. But because it was Harman and so many people were butthurt about their bets and everything like that, it's just like, I don't know. There was kind of like a cloud over the top of it, no pun intended, because the tournament was a rainy disaster. But I honestly, of all the podcasts I listened to last week, I heard you, our boy Chad, and our boy Ryan. Those were the only 3 guys that I heard talking about Harman.
I just wish I could have pulled the trigger. Like, I remember sitting there, like, I've got an extra $1 or 2 to spend. And I remember, let me go back here. I think I made some, I broke my rule. I went and bet first round leader last week instead. Like, I put a couple bucks. I put like $10 on first round leader bets last week. That money was the money allotted for one more outright bet, which could have gone to Harman, even though my notes, it's just so hard to pull a trigger on Brian Harman. And I know we talked about before we went live. I'm sure those watching may or may not have heard it. He was asked about the heckling because I get the hometown heckling. Tommy Fleet was a hometown guy. Was it Jordan Smith or one of the golfers in the 6K? It was his home course, Royal Liverpool. I get those guys booing.
You can even see like Rory or Lowry or those guys.
Rory or Shane Lowry who broke the glove over his neck. I could see that. But the online heckling was just a little much just because you didn't bet him and stuff like that. He was called out by a fan on Saturday at the beginning of his round, basically saying, and I'm paraphrasing this, but I think I'm pretty close, you don't have the balls to close this out.
Yeah.
And he actually, which I love, he actually took that, bottled it up. I mean, on Saturday and Sunday, he bogeyed 2 of his first hole, 4 or 5 holes each round. And he was able to settle down, come back, and shoot under par. I loved it. I thought it was great. I loved seeing the smaller guy be able to, he still hits the ball pretty far and maneuvered around that course. He's a little slow. He's a little boring. He's short. He looks like the dude from Impractical Jokers. But outside of that, like,
well, he was getting a lot of crap. He was getting a lot of crap from the club wiggle thing that he does before his routine and all that stuff. It's like,
you know what? There's a lot of golfers that do the wag.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I know it's extreme sometimes, 9, 10 times, but that's no more annoying than Wyndham Clark's putting routine.
Right.
That takes up 5 minutes per
Right.
hole.
Or Patrick Cantlay, period. I mean, like, just the way he plays.
Exactly. I mean, like, seriously, like, give the guy credit because you think about it. Think about who won majors this year. John Rahm won the Masters. Wyndham Clark won the U.S. Open. Brooks Koepka, obviously, the PGA, and now him. I mean, John Rahm and Brooks Koepka winning majors, and now you could slot Brian Harman's name in there. I mean, you wouldn't normally think of him in that same range. But guess what? Brian Harman is 6th in FedEx Cup standings at this point with 2 weeks to go.
He's on the Ryder Cup team. 100%. He's on the Ryder Cup team.
You win a major, you better be on the Ryder Cup team.
Yeah, which is wild. I mean, I kind of like to see somebody new win. Like, I kind of agree with this comment exactly. Like, I think the only thing that was lacking was that it was such a blowout. Like, there was nobody even around him. Like, it would have been, like, at least Wyndham Clark's was, really close, and he won at the last second like that. It's like this tournament was over on Friday pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a drama-less, event, and that was more not betting him wasn't my problem. It was the lack of drama. And when you I love looking at after round 2, like live ads, like let's see who's 6 back or 7 back that you can add. There was nobody you could bet after Friday
because he was up 5 shots already. It's like, you're just throwing money
there. I think it was 10 under after Friday, 9 or 10 under, and I looked at it. I'm like, all he's got to do is get to 12 under, and he wins this event. You know what I mean? And no one came close to him. So I thought it was good. Good for him. Great for him to solidify his name. But I saw our man Len, the best fantasy writer out there. He put out a tweet or something like that. Will he go down as one of the best one-time winners? And I'm like, are you saying he's not going to win again? And Len's like, yeah, he's not going to win another major. And you look at some of the names: Freddie Couples, Davis Love, David Duvall, won 1. Tom Kite only won 1. At least in the last like 30, 40 years, not counting the recent guys. Like, can't really put Wyndham Clark in that category yet because it's still so recent. Like, will Brian Harman ever have a chance like he had this week? Or does this – I mean, he's only in his 30s. Can he catapult this into major success?
I highly, highly doubt it. I really do. You know what's weird to me is that list
on that
list that you were just saying right now, it's kind of weird to me that Fred Couples only won 1.
Yeah. It is. I don't know. Yeah. Brian Harman now is up to 10th in the world golf rankings. I mean, he's ahead of Wyndham Clark. I don't know. I mean, 10th in the world golf rankings, 6th in FedEx Cup standings. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't want to.
It's funny because I can't think of another tournament even this year that, Brian Harman was in contention. I can't even, like, off the top of my head. The last time I remember was
ends in his last like 4 events.
Yeah, true.
So he had actually been playing some really damn good golf. Yeah. Way better than his entire career. He had one.
I think he's in 3rd in Ryder Cup standings now, right? For points?
3rd or 4th, something like that. It's the only standings I don't have up on my screen right now.
What's wild too is that with Ryder Cup, you're gonna have obviously there's the JT question. I think he still makes it somehow, but you're gonna have guys in the Ryder Cup team I think securely in right now. Sepp Straka, Brian Harman. That's if you'd have told me that at the beginning of the year, I would have thought you were crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of almost making it easy to not pick some of those live guys for the RyderP. Yeah. You don't need to bring any of those.
Brooks.
I mean, are you really going to take Dustin Johnson at this point over Brian Harman? No.
DJ's probably out. Finau might be out.
And you've already nailed a couple names at this week: 3M Open, TPC Twin Cities in Minnesota. I want to get to Sepp Straka in a few minutes because I love Sepp Straka this week. I think he's a great play, a great bet this week. But you brought up Justin Thomas, his name. And Justin Thomas is in the field this week. He's already committed next week to the Wyndham Championship, which I know Kyle is going to that. He already DM'd me saying he's so happy Justin Thomas is going to be in that event. The FedEx Cup rules changed a little bit this year. Top 70 get in, not top 120 to the playoffs. There's a lot of guys in that 55 to 85 range that have to play this week and next week to get into that. And it means a lot. There's $75 million on the line for everybody that makes the playoffs. It's a big deal. Plus the Ryder Cup points and whatnot that you get from it. Justin Thomas played god-awful at the Open Championship. He's been bad all year, but he's only 75th in the FedEx Cup standing. So, I mean, he's still right there. Did you see anything, or can you fathom any way that Justin Thomas turns it around this week or next week to squeak into the playoffs?
I mean, he does do really well on easy courses. I mean, that's one thing that. But I mean, honestly, no. He's been horrible for how long? We've seen him play. You've seen him play Rocket Mortgage. You've seen him play a couple other easier courses, and he's been just horrible. Like we were talking before, like, before we went live, and we were talking about, can you imagine like him before the year being in this field and being 9,300 and still not worth playing?
Yeah. Adam is going to be saying, I see it on the side screen. There it is. It popped up finally. Where was he ranked before he won this week? Brian Harman in the world golf rankings. I could pull that up. So Brian Harman started the year at 24th. Coming into this week, he was 26th ranked in the world, and he's 10th ranked in the world after winning the Open Championship. So that's a huge swing right there. To be considered a top 10 player in the world in golf, that's pretty big. Justin Thomas, on the other hand, is pretty, pretty falling down that list. Justin Thomas, I mean, he's missed 4 of his last 6 cuts. He's got a 60th at the Genesis. He did at the 9th at the Travelers. But I remember, I forget which account, somebody put out a tweet about where was Justin Thomas going to be priced at this week. And I know it's Justin Thomas. He's a multiple-time major champion. But I think DraftKings got it wrong by putting him so high at 93. I know 93 is nothing. It's a weak field. Names around him are Aberg, Straka, Woodland, Yeager's in the 9K. Shouldn't have Justin Thomas been, I know this is insulting, at least been in the upper 7s. Maybe you could have said 8K, but I think it's an insult to put him there.
I guess I would have maybe put him in the high 8Ks, but I think I actually like where DraftKings put him, because if you look at who's around him, I mean, Yeager's been good, like you mentioned, but like Woodland's not been very good. Aberg, you never really know what you're going to get from him. I mean, like, he starts off these tournaments really hot, but like, he's in an interesting zone where I think people are going to play Justin Thomas this week, which I don't think I can, but I feel
right now, early on, he's projected as before the show at 5.8% on fantasynational.com. Check him out, fantasynational.com. Best model making tools there is out there. If you sign up for any of their programs, make sure you send them a note that says Fairway to Heaven sent you. JT will win the Wyndham. I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know if JT will win in the next 2 years.
He's putting it out in the universe because he's going to be there. He's excited.
If you see Kyle, like, anytime you see Justin Thomas on TV, he's going to be really close, hawking him there. Don't get too close to JT. I mean, he might call you out to back up or be quiet,
Speaking of fans, did you see, when Rahm was making that run, was it Sunday? And it was pouring rain, and he flipped his hat backwards. Did you see the fan that flipped his backwards? That was awesome.
Yeah.
Almost wearing the same outfit, and he flips.
I don't have hats in here anymore. I would put one on. You should turn yours around for the rest of the show.
Oh, my God. So great.
John Rahm, 63 on Saturday, man. Brought so many of my lineups and my outright bet right back into contention. And then somebody on one of the broadcasts pointed it out that anybody that shot like a 63 or lower in a major has never shot under a 71 in the next round.
Oh.
And I was like, that just crushed me. I was ready to like dump more money in on Rahm. And then I heard that stat and I was like, damn, that sucks. But anyway, back to what Justin Thomas here at the 3M Open. All right, so we disagree slightly on that, but at least the books having him at 20-1, that seemed a bit odd, right? Like, you can't play him at 93, but you definitely can't bet him to win at 20-1.
No, I feel like, that's way lower than I thought his odds were going to be. I thought he'd be like 35-ish. So the fact that he's 20.
I don't know if it's changed since this morning when the odds were released, but 20-1, like, I've got my bets and I have no problem betting favorites anymore. But you can't have any realistic confidence in Justin Thomas even making the cut, let alone winning the event.
Well, my thing is, too, he's not just missing cuts. I mean, he finished second to last in the Open. I mean, he's like, even the ones that he's
81 or 82.
Yeah, the cuts that he's making, like the Scottish Open, like, he's barely squeaking through. It's not like he's had one good week. I think it was the Travelers, right, where he played well, but one good week in 3 months. Yeah.
But okay, so TPC Twin Cities, we're back to the U.S. We're back to a regular course, water all over the place. Like, I saw a quote somewhere. Let me see it on my notes. This is the birdies and train wrecks course.
Okay.
You get a lot of birdies, but because of all the water involved on almost every hole, you see some train wrecks. You know what I mean? Like, Justin Thomas, a guy that's playing so inconsistent like him, when you hear the word train wreck representing a course where you want to play birdie or better guys, but you also want to play guys that avoid bogeys and double bogeys, you just can't get behind a guy like Justin Thomas.
Did you see your boy Len, the tweet that he wrote about the course?
No.
A while ago. So, courses with the most water balls on the PGA Tour last season.
Yeah.
Number 1, TPC Twin Cities, 303. Number 2, PGA National, 289, and TPC Sawgrass 3, 272. So
Yeah.
most water balls of any course on
I mean,
tour.
a lot of the winners have been 17 under, 19 under, and stuff like that. But the discrepancy from winner to the guys that missed the cut, it's insane because, it's a long course. It's a 7,400 yard par 71. So that's a long par 71. So you would think instantly driving distance matters. But with the fact that water is involved in every single fairway, driving distance doesn't necessarily matter as much as accuracy off the tee or just the off the tee statistic in general, because you want to keep it in play.
Yeah.
If you listen to Rick Run Good, he has a stat that's I don't know if any other site has it, but the distance you miss the fairways by. How far off the fairway are you? Well, you don't want guys that spray the ball all over the place because you're going to hear plunk, in that water. You're going to see the ripples in that water, and all of a sudden you're talking double bogey on holes you should be birdieing.
No, 100%. That's definitely the way to put it. You know what's funny too is you mentioned that the winning score last year was 17 under. So you think birdie fest, right? The cut was +2 last year.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of weird. It's like you said, like it's a weird like discrepancy in like there's the high end guys go low, and then there's like the bottom end guys they struggle here because of.
But you've also seen, and just like that, you've also seen favorites like Tony. It's only the 5th year of this event. So in the last 4 years, you've seen favorites like Tony Finau win this event. You've also seen long shots win this event as well. This is where Matt Wolff got his first win. Remember Mr. Matthew Wolff, my favorite golfer in the world, the captain and co-founder on the Dead to Me list.
Listen, and then Cameron Champ, the less of a bitch version of Matthew Wolff, basically Cameron Champ, who is pretty much the same. Like
he's a bomber. So Wolff and Champ are bombers, and they won here. Finau is more accurate off the tee and more, conservative. You see all kinds of guys win at this event.
Yep. Yeah,
so what do you care more about? Because you've seen 2 bombers win it, then you've seen 2 non-bombers win the event.
I like off the tee. I don't know. I don't necessarily know if I think accuracy is probably more important here, but I think that did that say Phil and the other?
Yeah, you're just the other from now on. I love it.
Appreciate it.
Chatter, man.
I lost all my thought right there.
No. Jason is the other from now on, man. Chatter, I love you, man.
I think accuracy matters more here, but I'm not focusing off either one too much. More off the tee. Tee to green matters a lot. I don't know if you saw the stat. I think it might have been Rick that actually said this, that the guys that were the first 4 positions of tee to green last year were the top 4 of the tournament last year. So tee to green matters more than anything.
I read like 3 articles and nobody had tee to green in it, but just on the reading of the course, I didn't even have time to watch Rick Run Good show today. Just reading what I read, I instantly put tee to green, even though nobody said into my model.
I said that's not terrible, but the guys who finished 1st through 4th in tee to green were the first.
I cannot believe this is accurate, Adam. This is insane to me that Justin Thomas's odds have not moved. Because that means, you know what that means if it hasn't moved? People are betting him. Not a lot, but enough to keep him. If nobody was betting 21, they would have changed it to 25 or 30. Just keeping it there means there are people betting it, which is insane. Now, Kyle, Mad Chatter's out here. He's here to troll and wait till football tomorrow. I got lots of good football content tomorrow. Lots of good football content for tomorrow. Training camp starts. All right, so let's dive into it. You've got this week in the 10K range, you've got 4 names. You got Hideki, you got Sungjae, you got the defending champion Tony Finau, and he's not the number 1 priced guy in this range. And you got Cam Young, who is coming off back-to-back, top 6s in his last 2 events?
Well, 6th and 9th, the last 2.
Okay, 6 and 9. I knew there were 2 top 10s there. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I love Cam Young this week. What I've seen the last 2 weeks, I kind of feel like he hit his his sophomore slump, and he's already coming out the other end of it. I think he's going to be highly under-owned for his price. I think his odds are great. I think his price is great. I love Cam Young this week.
Is he on the Ryder Cup team now again?
He
was.
He's either going to be a captain's choice or he's going to have to. If he could finish up 2 more top 10s this week and next week, for sure.
It's going to be an interesting pick between. You're going to have like all in that same range. Him, Finau, Keegan, like they're all kind of in that same.
Now I think Keegan's out.
I think Keegan's out too.
I think Finau's out at this point.
Finau might be out too. Yeah,
I do. I would put Cam Young above them, but he could solidify that with how he could perform this week. Like I think he can win. I really do.
Wonder too, being in Europe, do they keep Finau because of his experience? Like, they may, because it's gonna be tough. I mean, you're not gonna want a bunch of rookies going over there trying to win in Rome. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying there. Is there any way JT doesn't make the Ryder Cup? Yeah, absolutely. If JT goes out and misses the cut this week or next week and
I
has
don't
what
know. Dude,
that
I
would
feel
make
like he might be on
yeah, he's missed
either
4
way.
of his last 6 cuts. If he misses one more cut, that's 5 out of 8, 5 out
I
of 9.
know.
Like you can't put him on there. You
I
just
don't
can't.
know, but
I mean,
I
I
feel
can't
like
imagine a world where he's not on it, but he's playing god
I
awful
mean,
right now.
2 not last Ryder Cup, but the Ryder Cup before that, he was the best player on the US team. That's why I wonder, like, is he not gonna be on it? I don't know. Zach
Dude,
Johnson was pretty coy. He didn't really say much about it.
he did say basically that Brian Harman's on the team though, so he did let that. Hey, and shout out to the Ryder Cup captain for making the cut this weekend. You know, Zach Johnson quietly
Yeah.
makes cuts at major events. He just does. So are you on board with Cam Young this week in this range, or do you like Finau the champ, or do you like one of these other names?
This range is tough for me. I feel like Cam Young is where I first went, but I feel like I might fade all of the 10K range, to be honest with you. I just don't love any of them. I feel like Cam Young's probably my favorite one, but I just don't like that. I mean, $11,000 for a guy that sucked 3 weeks ago. Like,
Yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know.
literally 3 weeks ago he was the worst golfer in the world, and
I
now
don't
he's
know. I feel like starting my lineup in the 9Ks is probably gonna be the way that I go. I have a little interest in Sungjae Im. He's been
okay.
playing a little bit better recently. He's usually good on easy courses too, so I have a little interest in him, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah, can't imagine not seeing JT and Spieth together. I agree. And now that Ricky's going to be on the Ryder Cup,
right.
probably, so like all those guys together,
That's the thing too. Like, does Ricky and does Jordan, like, speak up for his buddy? Probably.
yeah, there's a
So,
chance. I get what you're saying about the 10K range, and I agree. I bet Cam Young 17 to 1 to win this event. I know he's never won, but I could get behind the philosophy of maybe not building a lot of lineups around him.
and 17 to 1 is a good number too, because he's at 14 to 1 now. Also, I just saw JT dropped a little bit from 20 to 25
Okay,
on
so
DraftKings.
and, this is the weirdest part about this whole 10K range. Cam Young, top guy, 12% ownership projected. Finau, second top guy, defending champion, sub 9%. Sungjae Im, just over 13%. You got to get to Decky, who's the first red guy there, at 14.9. All your ownership is in the 9K range. Does that change your opinion right there?
A little bit,
Go
yeah.
down to the next range, you look at Grillo, 17.2. Straka, who I love, 18.5. At Aberg, 19.9% right now. That's insane.
You know what's wild for the odds right now? Straka and JT have the same odds.
So Straka, well, I got Straka much better odds than that. I got him in the 30 to 1
Oh,
range.
he's 25 now.
Yeah, so I got Straka at 30 to 1. That was actually Cam Young was not my first bet. Sepp Straka at 30 to 1 was my first bet for the week. So I do love Sepp Straka, and even if at 18%, Sepp Straka, he finished 6th in my model. He's just let me go through second at the Open. Obviously, won the John Deere, Rocket Mortgage. He hasn't missed a cut since the U.S. Open, and outside of that, he's had 1, 2, 4 or 5 top 20s. So he's playing great golf right now, and he's doing it tee to green. Like, obviously, Open Championship tee to green stats aren't there, but before that, 7.4, 0.9, 2.3, 1.4, 4.6, 1.7, 11.7 strokes gained tee to green at the PGA. We just said tee to green's important. What's Sepp Straka? Fantastic tee to green. So I love Sepp. I could give 2 clicks on Cam Young and then give 16 clicks on Sepp Straka and be very happy.
You know what's cool about Straka too? Obviously, you know how I feel about Straka. I love him. I've loved him all along. But he gained okay, so at the John Deere when he won, obviously this is a little bit of an outlier, but he gained off the tee. He always gains off the tee, and then like you said, tee to green, and then he also gained almost 7 strokes putting in his last tournament too. So it's like he's doing it on both ends, and like this is going to be a tee to green and putting contest. So I don't know
I
how you don't.
absolutely agree with you. Adam, with an interesting off the subject question. Here's the golfers that we've bet the most this year. That's tough. Actually, no, I've probably placed more bets on John Rahm than anybody else this year. That
For
would
me,
probably be my top end guy that I've bet this year.
right.
Let me look at the official world
Hold on.
ranking.
Let me look at my bets. But I feel like for me, I feel like I'm ashamed to even admit this, but I think it's Tom Kim. Like,
Oh, that's so disgusting.
I know.
No wonder you're broken, living in a box down in an alleyway.
Right. Yeah.
Every week.
In a van down by the river.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in a van down by a river because of that. No, I would say definitely for me, it's been him, but I'm looking down the list of the world golf rankings. I'm trying to find somebody I might have bet like regularly, and I can't. My numbers.
I've had a lot of Justin Rose this year, and a lot of Tom Kim, and a lot of Shane Lowry, and a lot of Justin Thomas.
So
Oof.
guys that haven't won. Oh my god!
Yeah.
I did bet 2 guys a lot this year, Adam, and except for the week that they won. I bet Ricky Fowler almost every single week. And then I read an article, why does everybody keep betting Ricky Fowler when he doesn't win? And then I don't bet him and he wins. I do the same thing. I bet a lot of Wyndham Clark, and the first time I didn't bet Wyndham Clark was when he won the U.S. Open. So Tom Kim might be Kyle's favorite non-American golfer.
He is American though, isn't he?
I thought he was. I don't know. He's not. You know, he definitely doesn't appear American.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to say that as politely as possible. All right,
No,
so
I
this
think you're right. I think he was on the President's Cup team, wasn't he?
was he? I don't remember.
I
I don't know enough about nationalities of these guys. All right, so we've covered Sepp Straka, we've
South
covered
Korean.
Thomas.
Yeah, he's South Korean.
Anybody else here you like? Grillo, Aberg. I can't. I would never bet Aberg or play Aberg at.
If you play Grillo when he is 19% owned, you are insane.
Yeah, you're completely insane.
Throwing that out there.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that. I actually think that outside of Sepp Straka, you could possibly fade this entire 9K range too, and put a lot of. What's that?
I like Aberg a little bit, and I like Jaeger.
I'm not sure I could justify the 9,100 price tag on him.
He just seems to do really well on easy
down and him drip down a little bit further.
He just does really well on easy courses. That's my biggest thing with him.
That's fair. I could fade a lot of it and just go right to Adam Hadwin at 8,900.
Yeah,
personally.
I like Hadwin too.
I think Adam Hadwin's a very underrated golfer. He's played really good golf. He's about 14% right now in the ownership circle.
2 top sixes here too.
Yeah, he's played really good golf. Oh, let me pull this out here real quick. Second at the Rocket Mortgage. He made the cut at the majors. He didn't play at the Masters, but he made the cut at the other majors. Had a top 15 at the Players Championship. So he's played well at weak courses, and he's played well at good courses too. He's a shot shaper. He doesn't drive the ball a ton, so he's a guy that can stay out of trouble. I love Adam. I love this range. I love Adam Hadwin. I love Tagala. I love Hubbard, Glover, Norman, who just won a few weeks ago. I nailed that at 28-1.
What's Glover's ownership showing us right now?
Let's see.
I imagine he's going to be really high too.
So Tagala, who I love, is at 6%. Hadwin's 14.
2 missed cuts in a row for Tagala, though.
I know. Lucas Glover's at 18.2. He's one of the top 3 owned guys at this moment.
That's rough. But he's been awesome.
He has been awesome. Tom Kim is from South Korea. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
true story.
Yeah, true story.
Glover has.
We don't know the nationalities of these golfers at all.
So Glover has a 5th, a T6, and a T4 in his last 3. It's pretty good.
That is pretty good. That is actually not pretty good. That's very good.
3 top 6s.
Yeah. Let's see. You did see that Bahidi withdrew or whatever his name is, right?
Who did?
Bahidi.
Oh yeah.
Akshay. But anyway, Mark Hubbard.
Yeah.
Mark Hubbard's the guy that I love. And he went on and missed 2 cuts when I played a lot of him at the Rocket Mortgage and the Travelers. But outside of that, he finished 6th at the John Deere, 6th at RBC, 9th at Charles Schwab. I mean, outside of his 2 missed cuts there at the Travelers and Rocket Mortgage, you have to go all the way back to the Valero. He had gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight cuts made. And again, outside of his 2 missed cuts, he gains a massive amount of strokes, tee to green, every single week. His last event, the John Deere, 3.7 tee to green and 5.4 putting. What did we just say is going to be important this week?
Yep, tee to green and putting.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
I mean,
question for you.
Speaking of putting's important because I've read that. Why do you think putting's important? I think this is an interesting question. I read that these are going to be some of the easiest greens to putt on, or the easiest greens to play on. When the greens are easy, does that put more pressure on you as a putter because you can't miss? Like you've got to pull out like Brian Harman. What do you go like 48 of 48 inside 10 feet? You've got to do that when they're easy greens. Does that put extra emphasis on putting, you think?
It's funny because I don't know if you listened to the Fantasy Golf Pod last week, but they were talking about it. They were debating on, is it better for crappy putters to putt on slow greens or fast greens? And they were split. And I was kind of thinking the same thing. I'm like, God, I was thinking about it. I'm like, I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah. I don't know what the answer to that is. And I'm just thinking, like, everything I read says it's an easy court. They're the easiest greens on tour. But then I realize it's still a putting competition because you dunk one in the water, you get your drop, you hit 3, you put it on the green. You got to make that 28 footer for
Yep.
par, or you're going to be out of contention in this tournament right
Yeah.
away.
For sure. No, I
I
completely
don't
agree
know.
with you.
I try to think of the theory of what makes a course tough there a little bit, and it puts emphasis on putting, even though it's an easy set of greens.
I have a question for you. Speaking of something that we were just talking about, Akshay Bhatia, do you think he's good, or do you think he's good in these crappy events?
I
'Cause he
think
hasn't done
he's got a lot of hype because of his personality, because of his
because
girlfriend.
his girlfriend, yeah.
He was living in a van or a U-Haul truck or
Right.
whatever,
Say
or
his
whatever
girlfriend
it was.
wasn't smoking hot. Do we talk about Akshay Bhatia? Because I don't think he's as good as people think he
He
is.
looks like he's anorexic, honestly. I mean, have you
Very
ever seen him without his shirt on?
very skinny.
No offense, like Jax was on the screen with us before we went live, and I'm like, dude, get that kid a cheeseburger. Like, I think he's got more muscle on them than Akshay. Like, I really do. I think there's a lot of hype. He's going to be a guy, I think, throughout his career, at least in the next year or two, who is going to miss 6 or 8 cuts a year, and then he's going to finish 6 or 8 times a year in the
People
top.
just love him. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like his ownership's high every week.
He is going to be a boomer bust guy every single week. He's a guy you bet to win, but you don't put in your lineups because his floor to ceiling is super wide. That there's a huge difference there with him. All right, it's a weak field. A lot of weak names in the bottom half. Obviously, Kyle with his Justin Sue love affair.
That's your boy. You love him too.
I don't. I like to just hype him up for Kyle. He was my bet last week to win the Barracuda, and it didn't happen there. But any names in the 7K range that jump out for you?
Yeah, there's a few. Nikolai Hogard, I think, is one.
Mhm.
He just sets up. He's a guy that can destroy easy courses. I like him a lot. I like Pendrith. Higo's actually been really good too, and he's the kind of guy that, like, on these birdie fest courses where I like to play Higo. So I would say probably Pendrith and Higo are my two favorites in the sevens.
I was looking at, well, obviously Eric Cole. He's just a stud on tour this year, up and comer. My guess, and I haven't looked at his ownership percentage since the show started. Yeah, he's at 15% already.
A little bit too.
Yeah, he's cooled a little bit. There's a lot of hype around Austin Eckroat. I mean, I'll probably click him a few times, but I can't get behind it. I like Aaron Rye this week. I think Aaron Rye can win this event. I know he missed the cut at the Scottish Open, but before that, 9th at the Rocket Mortgage, 3rd at the RBC. I think he's been playing pretty solid golf and getting things back on track.
Models love him this week.
The models do love him.
3rd tee to green, 6th in approach, 2nd par 4, and 2nd in par 5 scoring.
I mean, he's one of the top owned guys. He's 17% right now. So, I mean, but this is a weaker field, and we've seen longer shot guys. What did I bet him at? Bet him at 50-1. So not a total long shot, but he's a guy that he could win. He's turned things around a little bit. Do you have any faith in a guy like Cam Young that's a former champion?
Who? Wait, who?
Cam Champ. Sorry.
Cam Champ.
I said Cam Young. Sorry.
I don't mind playing.
That's running on 2 hours of sleep, working a 12-hour day. I'm in my 3rd hour of podcasting today on top of it all. So,
I don't mind Cam Champ this week, actually, to be honest with you. If you're going to play him ever, this is the kind of course that you play him on.
Okay. There's one other name in the 7K range I do like a lot. And I know he missed his last cut in across the pond at the Genesis, but I do like Doug Gim a lot.
Yeah.
But just before his missed cut overseas, he had gone 26th, 33rd, 15th, 12th, 19th, 27th. That's a pretty strong run right there. And you say, again, tee to green. His 12th at RBC, almost 13 strokes gained tee to green. Yeah. He's got 3.6 strokes gained at the Rocket Mortgage putting. Like, he's doing it putting and tee to green. And, I think Doug Gim is a really strong DFS play this week.
2 top 18s here, too, as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what's funny about Doug Gim is, like, no matter what event he plays in, he's always 7,400. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
It's like his price never changes. Yeah. Good events, bad events, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Any other names you want to touch on there before I got a couple 6K names too because you got a weak field. You could probably stay away from the 6K mostly. But I did find a couple names that I do not dislike this week. So any other 7K name? Nope, you're good in the 7?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So obviously guy that's gotten a lot of love this year and played really well. He's kind of cooled a little bit, but I do like Carson Young in this weaker field. I know he's missed 2 of his last 4 cuts, but outside of that, he's been rock solid this year.
You know what's wild is that he's not in the top 70. You would have thought, like, for how much he's played and how well he's played.
And he earlier this year, he had a stretch 15th, 19th. He had a 3rd, 14th, a 21st. He's got like 5 or 6 top 20s this year, and he's not. So, and he's playing for that. You know what I mean? So at 6,800, I like him. Um, why do I
Your
like?
boy Scott Piercy.
He is not one of the guys I have clicked this week.
I actually don't
Uh,
mind him this week at 6,600.
yeah, I hadn't gotten to 66. I got another 68 first. Um, this is more on course history. 16th year last year, 25th the year before, second in 2020, and that's Adam Long
I'm
at
long, yeah.
6,800.
Yep.
Great course history. Terrible in the models, like 95th in my model. He finished 16th at the Barbasol, but had 3 missed cuts before that. So his form's not great, but recent form, his last 4 rounds were great,
Yep.
and he's got great course history. So maybe he's figuring something out now in this weaker range of tournaments right now. And I got another one here. Let me pull up his course history real quick as I just confirm these notes from earlier today. Yeah, this guy in his last 4, well, the only 4 times here, 31st, 16th, 26th, 23rd. That's his course history. And he's made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of his last cuts on tour, including 1 top 10. And that is 1 6,500 Bryce Garnett.
Bryce Garnett.
6,500. 7 of 8
Wow.
cuts plus 4 top 25s in this event.
So when I first started playing DFS, like in 2015 or 16, I used to love Bryce Garnett. Great putter.
Yeah. But he loves this course, which, what did we say? Putting matters at this course, and he's a great putter. You know what I mean? So the guy's not a stud, but at 6,500, like 3% ownership, I'll take a stab at it. I had one other name down here at 6,200 or 6,100. Yeah, this guy's just a lot of cuts. 6,100, though. Played here 3 times, got a 16th, a 49th, and a 26th. All right. He's 6,100. He's 135 out of 150 or whatever in this field in my model. He finished 62nd at the Barbasol. So he made a cut recently. And that is one. I can't even say his name. I've never been able to say his name. Michael Gligic or Gligich. How do you say his name?
I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know how to say his name, but he's got great course history. So I'm just trying to find a few stab in the darks for one click here because, like, I do want to build a lineup with Cam Young and Sepp Straka in it, which means I'm gonna have to find some scrub to go with it. There.
So you're not gonna play Scott Piercy, even though he has a T4 last year and a T15 here as well.
No, I mean, I don't even know why I missed Scott Piercy's name. I'm already working. Yeah, there he is. I'm starring him right now. He's starred into my favorite category.
I feel bad when he misses
I don't know how he missed him.
Well, he's not that good of a golfer.
Working on like 2 hours. We finished 32nd in my model. For somebody at 6,600 to finish 32nd in my model, 18th in approach, last 36 rounds in this field.
34th in my model, so yeah.
He's 11th birdies or better compared to the field in the last 36 rounds. So he does some good things. So he's making the list. He's making the list for sure. Any solid top 5 or top 10s? I don't have any bets made for them yet, Adam. I only have my outright bets so far. But if I had a pick, let me see if I can pull up.
I like Hadwin for top 10.
Yeah, Hadwin would be. I'm going to pull up the DraftKings board here and see what the odds are on these guys. So you just went right to Adam Hadwin. So let me see. 3M Open, top 10s. Adam Hadwin is plus 360, top 10. That's a really solid number right there. Yeah. Plus 360 to hit him top 10. I'm trying to go down this card a little bit.
You made outright bets already, right?
Yeah, I made all my outright bets already. I've got nothing left to spend on outrights. Hadwin's top is even 170 plus 175 for top 20. That's even a really strong bet there. Mm-hmm. You bet $10 on that, and you get a little bit more than double your money. You can't. I don't think you could beat that. Everybody's hyping up Austin Eckroat this week. He's plus 240, top 20. I don't know if I like that as much.
He hasn't been as good lately either.
People are really loving him, and I just don't get it. But yeah, I would look at Hadwin. I would look at. Let me go back to the top 10s because that's what you asked for. I would not bet Justin Thomas plus 300 top 10. Definitely not. I think that's a donkey bet right there. Sepp Straka 280 top 10. That's not bad. I could get behind that as well.
Glover plus 900 for top 10. I'm sorry, top 5.
Glover plus 900. You said.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even see it. Are you looking at DraftKings?
Yep.
I don't see him on there.
That was top 5.
Oh, I'm back to the tournament winners. That's why I messed that up there. I would have had someone different out there. Oh, something happened baseball. I think Adam's watching 2 shows and he's talking Phillies in the comments section here on the show. I think he misplaced this Rojas comment in here right there. Young Phillies center fielder. Anyway, so I did bet. I made 6 bets. Even though I just crushed Austin Eckroat, I did bet. I'm like, everyone's hyping him. when I see so many people hyping somebody and their number's 80-1, I kind of had to throw a couple bucks on them. So I did throw him. I told you Cam Young, I bet. Sepp Straka, I bet. Rye. I did do Eric Cole at 55-1. And my long shot is the other Young, Carson Young, at 180-1. You know, you never know. You've seen first timers, you've seen long shots, you've seen favorites, but I really love the Sepp Straka bet the most, and I love Sepp Straka the most this week. Last week I was all in on John Rahm, and you were all on Scotty Scheffler. You backdoored the top 20 on me, but John Rahm was still the better pick.
What's funny too is that Scheffler did not play well at all.
Scotty, did you see his last shot on 18 on Friday that he had to take? To get. So he hit it. He had a birdie, the 18th par 5, to just maybe make the cut, and he had a second shot into one of the pop bunkers in front of the green, and it was one of those really tough shots, and he hit it, and he shorted it a little bit. It hit the top of the bunker, but top spinned and rolled right to the green, to the hole, and he just tapped it in for birdie to make the cut on the number. Like, it was the most lucky bunker shot you would ever see.
Obviously that sounds lucky, but he has turned into he is probably the best golfer on tour getting out of trouble right now.
Also probably the best golfer on tour at being like the worst golfer. Like, is there a worse putter right now from 12 to 14 feet than Scotty Scheffler? No. I mean, you would think a guy of his
maybe Rory.
Supposedly, I'm going to have to talk about the Phillies tomorrow and Kyle Schwarber's bad defense. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of football on the show tomorrow, Kyle. Training camp starts tomorrow.
So Kyle's a Phillies fan?
Yeah, Kyle and I went to high school together, so he's from the Philadelphia area. So he lives in North Carolina now, but he's from the Philadelphia area. Yeah. So do you have any bets placed yet this week?
I do not. No, I've shied away from the betting market in golf because I suck at it. So
all right, so just DFS purpose wise or betting wise, if you had last week, we went head to head on John Rahm and Scotty Scheffler. Obviously, the smarter man won, and John Rahm was better. If I'm taking Sepp Straka as my favorite person to win this event, if I had to say he's my all-in play, who would you go head-to-head with Sepp Straka with as an all-in play?
Hadwin, for sure.
I love that.
So if I was going to bet, so I haven't bet anything this week, but if I were going to bet some outrights, I think Hogard at 50 would entice me. I think JT Poston at 45 is interesting. And then probably Hadwin at 35 would be my 3.
Yeah, Hadwin 35. I just went to double check his number. I'm like, I just don't know if I love 35-1 on Adam Hadwin.
No, I thought it'd be better than 35-1.
I thought it'd be like 45 or 50-1. Like, if I'm getting Rye at 50-1, I would think I'd get Hadwin like 45-1. I don't know, but I do love the thought process behind Adam Hadwin at least contending this week.
What's Hogard's ownership showing as right now?
Most popular Hogard's 9 something? No, where's Hogard?
8.
8, yeah. Hold on, he's at 9.4%.
Play him.
Yeah, I don't think you could beat 9% for him.
No,
at all.
Way too good a golfer in this field.
Way too good a golfer. I got to ask you real quick before we sign off. One final football question in this golf show. What was with your man, Mr. Campbell, doing?
He does it every year.
Yeah, he's doing his little
ups or up
downs or whatever that exercise was. Your coach of your team, thinks he still could play football.
First of all, he's jacked still, so he probably could. Did you?
I don't know. I think Adam watches literally like 40 podcasts a day across all different topics, and he supports and shares so much content out. And I love Adam for that. And he supports my pizza shop on a regular basis as well. So I love that as well. But yeah, wrong show. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
I forgot what we were talking about.
Dan Campbell's.
Oh yeah. So he does that every year. That's his thing, right? So he had last year. He did it. He wanted to do it still, but he hurt himself, so he had to tape his wrist up to do down ups. So yeah, he's. I don't know if you saw my tweet yesterday. I bet my coach could beat up your coach. That's 100% accurate.
That's how I saw the video because of that. Yeah. It would win in a contest. How many down ups can you do?
I don't know.
Me or you? Who do you think could do more?
I
have a busted leg, a bad back.
I was gonna say you got a bad back and a leg. I got a bad wrist, so probably me. I just have to tape my wrist.
You might get through 2 of them. I might get through 1.5. Oh man! All right, we're gonna wrap it up right there. Fairway to Heaven, right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. For Jason Sullivan, I am Phil Stiefel. Dude, we're 2 weeks away from the FedEx Cup Championship. We're a month and a half away from the Ryder Cup. Golf season, at least on the PGA Tour, is wrapping up soon here.
265 days from the Masters. I just read today. So.
How many?
265.
Early call. Who's winning the Masters?
John Rahm again.
Yeah, you think he's going to repeat?
Yep.
Wow. Wonder what kind of. Oh, you know what? We can't end the show right there. I got to see if
Masters winners have horrible track records the following year, don't they?
I got to find it right now.
I
John
don't know
Rahm
why I
is the
said John
favorite.
Rahm so fast.
He is already the favorite at plus 650. Scotty Scheffler 9-1. Rory 10-1.
Not
Well,
Rory.
I see where Brian Harman is on this list.
Not Brian Harman either.
I don't know. Brian Harman strikes me as a guy
Maybe
that
Sepp
can do it.
Straka. I don't know.
I can't even find a Brian Harman. Oh, there he is. You can get 130-1 on Brian Harman to win back-to-back majors, go Open, and then go into the next year as the Masters champion. I may go drop $1 or $2 on that tonight after the show's over. I mean, why not?
Go for it.
It's $1 or $2. What am I going to lose? Half a cup of coffee? Anyway, fairway to heaven. We'll be back next week again. The Wyndham Championship right down there in Flair Country, North Carolina. Woo! Yeah, exactly. Everybody have a great week. It's going to be a hot one out there. I don't know about you in Detroit, but PA, heat wave this week. It's going to be
96 on Friday, bro.
96. That's it. The feel like they're going to be like 105, 110 all week this week. It's going to be brutal, like Wednesday through Saturday out here. I'm going to get out and golf actually on Sunday as well. Thank you very much for everybody tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. If you're watching on replay, like this video. We got 8 likes on YouTube, 2 on Facebook. Make sure you like, you share, you retweet, you follow, you do all that great stuff. For Jason Sullivan, I am Phil Stiefel. We will see you next week right here on Fairway to Heaven.